Well, good evening, everyone. This is a different format or time of day to do the GC Live, but welcome in to GC Live and happy Monday to everyone. I know this is not our usual Thursday or Friday window of talking Gamecock baseball, but circumstances are a little different this week because the Gamecocks have a quick turnaround as the SEC tournament gets going on Tuesday, tomorrow morning, out here in Hoover, Alabama, which is exactly where I am right now. I just got to Hoover about 30 minutes ago, and we're ready to rock and roll. Quick turnaround after Nashville. We're going to talk plenty of Gamecock baseball, but as always, I'm your host, Jack Veltri, joined, as always, by my good friend, co-host, and former South Carolina right-handed pitcher, as well as 2010 College World Series champion, Ethan Carter. Ethan, how we doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. It's finally getting hot here in Virginia, and things are starting to really bloom. And so, if I sound a little under the weather, it's just allergies, y'all. And but we're excited to talk. You look fresh. You just look fresh as can be after doing a drive down to Hoover, brother.
I just showered up. I cleaned up, man. It's dude, I've had a long last 24 hours. I drove from I was in Nashville this past weekend, so I drove from Nashville back to Fort Mill, and then I drove from Fort Mill to Hoover this morning. So I'm tired. I'm ready to get some sleep tonight, but yeah, I'm here a day early. And then the first question we really got here is, this is a great question. I've asked this question a few times today. How many days of clothes did I pack? So my suitcase is still packed up from Nashville. So whatever I brought to Nashville is here with me. The only thing I did, because I went home this morning to my parents' house, I picked out 2 clean collared shirts for my trip here. I'm fully anticipating only being here till Wednesday morning, and then that's it. So my clothes are a little dirty, but it's okay. I could probably rewear them, but I have 2 collared shirts packed. So at most, I'm thinking maybe I'm here. Maybe South Carolina will find a way to win tomorrow. But as we all know, with the SEC tournament, I mean, it's single elimination, so I'm packed lightly.
I'd say, man, they got a laundry service somewhere in there with the boys going on a little bit of a run.
Oh, yeah. If they go on a run like they did 2 years ago, I'll figure it out. Shoot, I'll go to Walmart if I need to. I'll go to TJ Maxx. Like, I will. There are always options. But, yeah, this is not our end of season show. We're still in season. South Carolina, despite how rough things have been, we're going to get into that. We are still in season. There will be an end of season wrap-up show probably later this week, and then we are diving into the coaching search after that. So we're going to give, the program the respect it deserves from the standpoint of talking about what's going on right now in season. And then when the season ends, we will start diving into off-season content. And we'll have plenty to talk about here throughout the summer. But, of course, the focus is on what is at stake right now and then what just happened this weekend. But before we get into any of that, I got to talk to you guys real quick about our good friend Clint Hammond of CMG Home Loans. If you're in the market to buy a home, need help with your mortgage, Clint is your guy to call. He's been in the mortgage industry for over 20 years now. He's a lifelong Gamecock fan as well, and also a longtime partner and sponsor here of Gamecock Central and GC Live. So, like I said, in the market to buy a home, need help with your mortgage, any confusion you have with housing needs, Clint is going to be your number one guy to call at 803-422-6797. NMLS number for him is 71597, or go to clinthammond.com for more information. That will be above us here on screen all show long. All right, buddy. We got to talk some bad Gamecock baseball first before we get into previewing and predicting, as always, what's at stake here this week with the SEC tournament. And this will be our full SEC tournament show. We're not going live before every game. It should have may just be for this one game. That might be it. But this is our SEC tournament preview show. So maybe we'll predict the whole field. I don't know. But we got to talk about this past weekend. Carolina went out to Vanderbilt, got swept. We don't need to spend a ton of time on this. Carolina has lost 12 straight games now. They've lost 34 overall on the season. Worst season in program history. I know. Not a ton of fun to talk about. I don't know how much you watched this weekend, Ethan. I think we talked about this last week. I think kind of the goal for this weekend was to figure out who else you can rely on from a pitching staff standpoint. And I don't think we saw that to a full extent, but I think we at least saw, like, if Carolina, heaven forbid, they play into Thursday or Friday or, later on this week in the SEC tournament, I think they now know they have a few more additional arms to rely on. You had, in particular, Parker Marlott looked really good pitching. I believe it was on Thursday he threw. Josh Gunther, who, he's one of the two main guys that has fallen off a cliff this season. And he pitched 2 innings and gave up 1 run, looked really good over 30 pitches. Josh Gregoire pitched a scoreless inning. And then probably the big name guy that really went out there and showed some flashes. It wasn't perfect, but Riley Goodman got the start on Saturday, pitched 3 1/3 innings, didn't allow a run through the first 3 innings of work, and then did get into a little bit of trouble in the 4th, exited, and then things kind of fell apart for Carolina as Vanderbilt scored 5 runs. But overall, I'll read out the numbers right here. 3 1/3 innings, 4 hits, giving up 2 runs, 4 strikeouts, 1 walk, 52 pitches, and most of them were for strikes. I think you take that any day of the week. So we'll kind of go in reverse order here. Thoughts on the way Goodman and Gunther specifically looked?
I thought Riley looked great. You could definitely see some of the tweaks he I think he spoke about it post game that he's been working on some mechanical tweaks, and you saw trying to be a little bit cleaner, not have as much movement in his delivery, and I thought you could definitely see the progress in some of that work, and that's a testament, man. He lost all of last year, didn't pitch at all. Went into this year as a weekend starter, a Friday night starter, and it just hasn't been the year that I know he wanted it to be and the team wanted it to be. So for him to go out there and to continue to work behind the scenes and take that opportunity on Saturday, hopefully, if South Carolina does win a game does win tomorrow, then I definitely think Riley's going to factor into something in the future for this tournament.
Yeah, definitely. Like, he definitely could be a factor for sure, I would say. And it just depends on how far they get, really. Like, if they make it to – because it would be Tuesday, Tennessee. Wednesday, they'd play Arkansas. And then I think they get a day off, and then they'd play a Friday. I think it's against Texas. So, the further South Carolina gets, the more they're going to have to rely on not just Goodman, but these other guys. And honestly, I could really see, like, if Carolina is in a position where they got a chance to win this game tomorrow and you don't get a super long start from, here's a tease, Brandon Stone's starting tomorrow, then I think you see some of these guys get deployed, like Marlott, Gunther, Gregoire. The guy that really stuck out this weekend, Cooper Parks. I wrote about him in my weekend reaction, so I gave him a whole section. He's quietly been South Carolina's best reliever this year.
Yeah.
And the improvement he's made, you got to go back to last year, dude. This guy had a 14 ERA.
Yeah.
And he was, statistically speaking, the second worst pitcher on the team last year. And he was used in garbage time, essentially. But now he's getting used as like a high-leverage reliever to the point where, in a game where South Carolina's trailing by 2 runs, he goes out there and holds Vanderbilt hitless over 3 1/3 innings. So he's looked really good. I think he's someone that you definitely could see pitch on Tuesday. I think it's all hands on deck on Tuesday. I saw Jay Johnson for LSU talking about how he's treating tomorrow when they play Oklahoma, LSU that is, after South Carolina. They're treating it like Game 3 of the College World Series. I think that's the approach South Carolina needs to have from the standpoint of they got to go out here, win every game possible. And I think at this point you're probably seeing guys pitch multiple days if Carolina gets this far. Now, this would be a non-talking point if Carolina loses tomorrow, but you got to go all hands on deck this week for sure.
Yeah, exactly. No, you especially with the change in tournament, it's not 2 and Q anymore. It's win or go home, especially here early on. And you absolutely are going to see you're going to see the guys take that. If Brandon has kind of scuffles in the second inning, I could see them pulling the plug early. And that way, if you can kind of salvage it, then Brandon can come back. But they are going to definitely treat this as though there is no tomorrow, because there isn't if they lose. And yeah, I fully expect that they'll have their guys that, break glass in case of emergency, and they'll be down in the pen as soon as Brandon Stone exits the pen from throwing his warm-up pitches. That bullpen will be locked and loaded from the first pitch tomorrow.
We'll talk a little bit more about the game coming up tomorrow, just in a little bit. But we're just finishing out some final thoughts on what happened this weekend. Offensively, the one thing I will say besides the pitching, I do feel like Monty was right when he was mentioning this to me after the games. He felt like it was a lot more competitive out there. Like Carolina didn't really seem to just throw the towel in and give up, especially on Friday. It was when they fell behind 7-0. And they ended up losing that game 9-5. But at one point, they were on a 5-0 scoring run. They got the game close again. Like Carolina at this point, especially after losing on Tuesday to Winthrop, it's kind of like you could have just thrown the towel in and that be it and just phone it in the rest of the way. But you give a lot of credit to them. They did play tough against Vanderbilt, did not win the games, obviously. But I think that's something you could probably take away as I think you can use that as a little bit of a springboard heading into Hoover here of they haven't given up yet, even though at times it has felt like that. But lately, this past weekend, it felt like they played a little bit harder.
Yeah, for sure. It seems, kind of something I know I've been kind of dancing around a little bit this year. Just the talent isn't quite there to compete at this level. And when that's the case, you could see, some teams just pack it in and they haven't been run ruled in a minute. That I think that kind of goes to they're staying in it, they're battling. And that could play dividends, in a single elimination tournament. But yeah, you're right. They did it just, especially after Thursday, they lost 9-1, then they get down 7-0, and it really could have gone south from there. And they hung with them, for the rest of the weekend. I think there was 4-3 Vanderbilt over the last 14 innings or something like that. So they hung with them after a rocky start, but that just seems to be the issue is either not maintaining some of these starts or just really not getting off the starting block at all.
We got a question here from Adam. I did not go downtown out in Nashville. I've been downtown a few times out in Broadway, and I did not. Yeah, this is probably my 5th or 6th time going to Nashville for work in the last few years, and I'm definitely past the point of going out. Who's the first guy you bring out of the pen? We'll start transitioning into the SEC tournament now. First guy you bring out of the pen. I think it depends on the situation.
Exactly.
Brandon is going to go. He went 60 pitches the other day. Did pretty well for the most part. Ran into a little bit of trouble in the, I think it was the 5th or 6th inning maybe. If he's going to go the full length, probably 90 pitches.
Yeah.
If he can pitch to the 5th or 6th, and it's a close game. Let me show you.
I know who we're saying we're going to. The coaching staff's made it clear that that's not going to be the case, but I know who I would go to.
I would say it depends on the situation. I don't know how many lefties, righties Tennessee has in their lineup. Honestly, I'd ride the hot hand. I'd go Cooper Parks.
Yeah, I mean that's good. I mean, I would. It's especially if it's 6 innings. I'd hand the ball to Valentin. I mean, he was your closer to start the year. It seems like after the Missouri game, and I know some of it was out of necessity. But after the Missouri Friday night game, I think it was Friday, maybe it was Thursday, but after game 1 Missouri, where they pretty much had to pull the plug after 3 batters, it just seems like the coaching staff wants to give him more runway to figure it out. So if I'm not using him, which it seems like the coaching staff has fully committed to him being a starter for however long the season lasts, then yeah, I'm with you, Cooper. I think Cooper's the right answer there. I think, you want to, if you're in a position to win and you can do it with as few pitchers as possible, you take that opportunity. And Cooper, like I said, if Brandon gives you 6, Cooper can definitely, gives you the ability to go the rest of the way.
The good news is Cooper only threw 31 pitches the other day, over 3 1/3 innings. He was working really quick. So, and he would be on, so he had Sunday to rest, Monday. He would be coming in on 3 days rest. So
yeah, and that's pretty normal for a bullpen guy.
Especially in this situation. Like, it is all hands on deck. And I think there is something to be said about Valentin. Now, if Tennessee does have a ton of lefties in their lineup, then yes, I think that's where you use But are they going to do that? I don't think so. I don't think they are. But
Nope.
I don't think you should be saving bullets in this situation. If you can pitch Valentin in a close game, I know he hasn't been great, but he pitched a lot better after the disastrous first inning on Friday.
Yes.
So
because we were texting during that on the first inning and couldn't believe what we were witnessing. And then like you said, he settled in and really battled and was able to give them some length they needed. I know we talked about that we wanted to see a bunch of different guys, but when you pencil in a guy to go 3 to 4 innings, you really hope you can get that, because then you start stretching in other places that you're not I'm not going to say not prepared for, because I know these coaches put in hours of prep about scenarios and stuff like that, but you don't want to go to those emergency situations in game 2 of a 3-game series after you had to use about 4 guys on game 1. So and then Sunday was obviously a TBA. So yeah, I mean, shout out to Alex for battling and giving the guys some solid innings.
So I think again, we are talking like they're going to go on a deep run here, when who knows if that's the case. But I think you are right. Like, really, the only one that should not throw tomorrow is Ant Phillips. Don't throw him tomorrow. Save him for Wednesday if you even make it that far. Who knows if you even are going to get to that point. But I think you need to really, like, everyone else besides Amp and probably Riley Goodman, I would save him. Like, and shoot, Riley could probably throw, but I don't know. I think you're saving him for later on in the week if you need him to start. But yeah, I think every other pitcher should be available tomorrow, and we'll see. As we continue to talk about Hoover here, we got a good question here. What is the go-to place to eat at Hoover when you finish for the day? I don't know. Do you even remember where you guys would go eat out here?
Brother, we were there for one night. I guess technically 2, because we got there early for a practice. We stayed. We woke up. We lost. We went to bed. We lost, and then we got on that bus and we're heading home. So I couldn't tell you, man. And the way Hoover's set up, the hotel we used to stay at was at like a mall. So other places, there would be some leniency on going out, getting a nice meal somewhere. But Hoover, everything's so condensed, and it really is kind of a chaotic like atmosphere down there. So you really kind of stay as close as you can. You grab some fast food. They normally would have a post-game spread for us, like whatever. Like, I don't remember if they have McAllister's down there, but think McAllister's-esque. They would normally have like a post-game spread for us on the bus that we could take back to our room. So we weren't. Unlike some other places where we'd go out and have some nice meals, Hoover's one of the places where we keep it as simple as possible.
All right. Let's see. I got to my hotel like probably 45 minutes ago. There's a Chick-fil-A near me. It's funny. There's a Costco on one side of this place and a Sam's Club on the other. So that's very
5 big booms.
Dude, oh my God. I love Costco. Costco is so good. You'll like this. There's an AMC, like literally, I could probably walk to the AMC movie theater right near here. So
I am jealous of that.
Yeah. I will ask you a good question here. What is the best part about Hoover, in your opinion, and what is the worst part about Hoover? Just from the overall, how many years did you go to Hoover? Twice?
I only went once.
Okay.
Yeah, the way it worked out for me, I was only there one time. I believe, though, each time was the same result. I don't know if we won a game in Hoover in the 3 years I was a part of the program. I don't know if we won a game. Best part is, honestly, it's a nice little prep for Omaha. With like the schedule, because even at regionals, it's pretty set in stone. Like a regional game may go over by regional game may go to extra, so you might get pushed a little bit. But regionals are pretty set in stone, and definitely supers. Omaha, because everybody's playing at the same place, and you're generally getting 4 games in a day there. Hoover's is a good prep for that, because you just don't kind of get that in any other scenario where, South Carolina's penciled into play the start at 4:30, 5:30 tomorrow.
Yeah, 5:30. 5:30
5
Eastern time.
Yeah, 5:30 Eastern time. There's a good chance they might not get a first pitch till 6. So it is, or 5:30. There might not be a first pitch till 7. So and then the late games are even worse than that. So yeah, I think that's the best part is the prep work, that you can kind of get yourself prepared mentally if you have aspirations bigger than just making a regional. And then go ahead. Yeah.
No. I forgot I had asked you the back part of that. What's the worst?
Oh yeah, the worst part. I mean, it is
from.
Yeah, I mean that's the waiting. I mean, and honestly, again, that's kind of where that it kind of preps you for Omaha. But the waiting around, not knowing the schedule unless you are that first game of the day, it just kind of sucks because you're not doing anything. Like you can't really go prepare to unless you're getting up early anyways, but I'm gonna go run across the street, grab a coffee and sit down. It's like, no, we might be going to the bus, when they tell you. So that's the worst part is just kind of the unpredictability of it. It is a lot of waiting. It's a lot of just moving parts, and that can be frustrating when you're used to especially things in the SEC running so pristine and on a schedule. And they do their best down there, but sometimes you can't factor in the weather or extra innings or anything like that.
I was gonna say, did you ever get to? I hear all the time that, and I know the weather this week may not be great. Tomorrow should be fine, but beyond that, the weather might be a little crummy. Did you guys ever deal with the weather there being? Because I hear it's not fun at times.
No, we lucked out. We got that in Omaha instead. That was our trade-off. No, we got lucky. I think I have it pulled up. I did have it pulled up. When we played Ole Miss, I can't see the time, but that was a day game. I remember that game being in the daytime. We started relatively on time. And then we played Auburn in the second game. Same thing. We actually went 12 innings against Auburn, if I'm remembering correctly. So we actually pushed the time back for someone else a little bit. But yeah, we got super fortunate that we were not affected by the rain at all, and but then again, we were done by Wednesday. So we were out, and that was back, like I said, back when it was double elimination. We were out of there quick. So.
Yeah, Hoover is, I've heard the horror stories about the 9:30 a.m. games out here, the terrible weather. I mean, I haven't had to deal with either of those yet. I've actually lucked out. 2 years ago was my first time coming. It was let's see, they played Arkansas. They beat Bama, Arkansas, lost to LSU, beat Kentucky, and then they lost to LSU again. So we were here for a week, dude. It gets long out here. It does. When you don't,
yes.
Especially when you don't prepare to pack for a week. And then last year was a completely flipped thing where I'm here for 24 hours for one game. So this will be a little different. I'm actually here for 2 days now instead, potentially at the least, I guess. But
yeah.
Weather looks fine here. It's going to be interesting. But no, I love Hoover, man. It's a good time out here. Great ballpark, great atmosphere. It's so cool that all the SEC is here. I'm sure it's cool for you guys too. Do you guys in the hotel situation? Are you guys all basically in the same hotel? Is it kind of like Omaha? Was Omaha kind of like that?
So Omaha, when I was there, we each had a hotel. Now I know in 2012 the guy shared with Arizona, and that was just awkward setup. But I know in 10 and 11, the guys, we had our own hotel. Each team did. And then, like I said, I know in 12, I don't know whether every team or every school combined to 2 hotels or 2 hotels per team or 2 teams per hotel. But I know that's how it was in 2012 with them. But no, I don't remember seeing anybody around. And again, it is pretty you get there, you practice, you go back, you shower. I think we had a late practice time too. So like we got on the field for like our hour and a half or an hour at like 6. So we got finished, we ate, and we were back, and we were all, like I said, there wasn't much, you could go walk around the mall if you wanted, but a lot of it was just kind of hanging out and shooting the crap with your roommate.
Yeah, I'm sure it gets a lot of fun, but you guys were there for a short amount of time. What was the story you told me that one time that Coach Tanner, after like whatever game you guys lost, it was like you guys are like shower up?
Yeah,
I think you told the story a little bit 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, we because we played Auburn game 1. Drew Pomerantz was a buzzsaw that game. And then we played Auburn the next game. And do I know who pitched that game? I don't. But Auburn, we faced Auburn second game. We went 12 innings. We lost 3-1. If I remember, we kind of lost in a stupid way. Like we had opportunities to win and just didn't pull it off. And Blake Cooper started that game. I don't remember what the order of events were for relief, but we finished and we got on that bus, and Coach Tanner was like, all right, from the time we park at the hotel, you've got 30 minutes to shower and get back on the bus, and we're out. And if you're not back on the bus, we're leaving you behind. And so we divvied up duties. My roommate was Stephen Neff on the road. So Neff showered. I went and got us some McDonald's, brought it back to the room. Then I hopped in the shower real quick, and then we were already packed, and we got on the bus, and we had a very long drive back to Columbia.
Oh man, that drive is a little bit long too, because it's like,
yeah, and it is expected. Like after you lose for the first hour, the first couple hours, you don't talk. Like we played games. There was a select few of us that sat in the back of the bus and played some card games. And, those things can get pretty fun and pretty raucous. But, yeah, man, when you lose and you're on the way back, it is, like I said, you don't talk. So for every other bus trip, we're usually yapping it up pretty good. And we just had to sit there and sit in it for like 3 hours until we stopped. And then it was like kind of like, all right, we can play quietly if we play. So, yeah, man, that was not a fun weekend. It's probably the only weekend worse was probably ECU my freshman year. That was probably the only weekend worse. Those were the 2 worst weekends as far as, especially with travel and having to go back to the crib on the bus after losses.
Maybe we'll need a story on ECU someday whenever Carolina plays those.
Yeah.
Guys. But let's continue the conversation just about what is coming up tomorrow. You got Tennessee coming up. So Tennessee's the 10 seed, South Carolina's the 15 seed. Neither of these teams played each other this year. We obviously know what happened with Tennessee this year, where Tony Vitello took the manager job with the Giants, and first college coach to coach in the MLB, et cetera, et cetera. Josh Elander, who was thought of as a potential candidate for this job at Carolina in 24, is now the head coach of Tennessee, doing a pretty good job there. The Vols playing really good baseball. They just took 2 of 3 from Oklahoma in OKC over the weekend. Pitching matchup tomorrow, again, Brandon Stone on the mound for the Gamecocks. And funnily enough, this name doesn't sound familiar to some people probably, but Cam Appenzeller, freshman left-hander, is pitching for Tennessee. Long story short, he was a South Carolina commit back in the day. I remember I have a story pulled up here from October 17th, 2023. I talked to him about his commitment to South Carolina, and then when the coaching change happened and everything, he was one of the guys that decommitted from the program. So tomorrow's kind of like a interesting matchup here, just because South Carolina's season may end at the hand of a guy that was once committed to the program. And from what I read, he's a really big time guy. Pulled up here, 5-1 on the year, 4.84 ERA. He's only got 1 start this year, so he's mainly pitched out of the bullpen. I'm wondering how much Tennessee will stretch him out tomorrow, but nevertheless, this is a guy that was definitely highly recruited out of high school. He was telling me he was recruited by more than 25 schools with phone calls coming in every night. So it's interesting to see how a guy that South Carolina once had, and obviously it's the fault of the coaching transition, obviously. I mean, This guy was committed to Mark Kingston, and when that when he got fired, obviously some guys left. It'll be interesting to see how that looks tomorrow.
Yeah, no, I sit here just kind of looking at his stats. Yeah, it looks like, especially once SEC play rolled around, on average, I think it was 10 appearances with a 5 ERA and about 34 innings. So he pitches a lot for him. I wouldn't let the ERA fool you. This time of year, you do tend to see some freshmen, especially that get used quite a bit, kind of hit that freshman wall. So like I said, I'll be interested to see what Tennessee's game plan is tomorrow, as far as, like you said, managing workload and where they go from that. But yeah, it would be a ironic end to a dreadful. Thank you. A very dreadful moment in South Carolina history if a guy that decommitted from Pulmonary ended the Pulmonary era for South Carolina. That would be quite the nail in the coffin for this program and everything. Yeah. So
now that you say that, I think the season's probably coming to an end tomorrow. If I got it.
Yeah, the stars are aligning that way. But it is weird, because I typically take a look at the schedule and see everything about 30 minutes before we hop on. And I was like, dang, that is right. We didn't play Tennessee this year.
It's weird.
Yeah, I know with the expanded conference, we're just going to lose out on some of these matchups, but I can't tell you the last time I remember not playing Tennessee in the regular season. So
I don't know. I don't know if that I can't tell you the last time it's happened, man. Even last year, they got swept by Tennessee last year, but they play the Vols every year pretty much.
Yeah, so so it is weird and Tennessee's, obviously they lost a little bit of juice from the last couple of years with the Vitello exit. But Coach Erlander has kind of got them in a good spot, with postseason coming around. So it'll be interesting to, I guess that first point was not watching as much Tennessee. They're not as, prominent on SEC Network. You kind of have to look to find their games this year, where last couple of years they seem to be put in prime time every chance they got. So yeah, it will be really, other than, watching some clips, first time really setting eyes on this Tennessee team. So it is just a weird quirk in the schedule that, a rival, I would say, we don't see them till game one of the SEC tournament.
Yeah, it is kind of crazy that the Gamecocks just have not played them this year. We're going to lock in some predictions here in just a second, but real quick, got to talk to you guys about our other show sponsor, Andy Ludicky, our good friend who has been sponsoring our baseball coverage throughout this entire season. We thank him so much, first and foremost. Andy's a big baseball fan, and from his line of work, he has seen firsthand what fantastic traits baseball players bring to the franchise world. If you're sick of your job, ready to leave the corporate rat race, want to diversify, build wealth, and or leave a legacy, have a job and want a side hustle, Andy can help you out. He's a franchise consultant as well as a franchise owner, and he helps people find franchises that fit their skill sets, passions, and financial requirements. His services are 100% free, and he's here to help if you have any questions about business ownership. Head on over to myperfectfranchise.net to learn more, or you can text or call Andy at 404-973-9901. Thank you, Andy. All right, man. Let's get into some predictions here. Funny enough,
hey, before we do that, are you gonna check out any of the games before South Carolina? What's my
schedule?
Put us in the life of Jack Veltri for game one of the SEC tournament.
Ooh, so again, this is different from last year because I'm here the day before. Like last year, I literally got there probably like an hour and a half, 2 hours before the game.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah. Well, first thing I got to figure out is how I need to get my credential. That was a pain in the butt last year because, again, I got there a little bit early, and I got there during the game before, and I can't remember who was playing, but like they wouldn't give me my credential because it's in the middle of a game, and I'm like, what the heck? So that was a pain in the butt. So I don't know. I mean, there's 2 games going on before tomorrow. Am I going to go to either game? I'll probably go see a little bit of the second game, but I'm going to try to go get the credential in the morning. I got radio to do in the morning. And then, we'll just I don't know. I mean, I got to get a little bit of stuff written up. I got to
Yeah.
finish up some hot board stuff and all that because as soon as the season ends, man, it's turning the page to this coaching search. So we will talk plenty about it. But yeah, schedule's going to be pretty chill tomorrow. We'll get up, we'll do radio, we'll head over to the ballpark, maybe try to grab the credential, and then we'll come back here, do a little work, chill, get lunch, and then head over to the ballpark. Probably about. I'll keep an eye on the score tomorrow and whatnot with what's going on before. Let me see who even plays. I think it's Vanderbilt and Kentucky.
Yeah, Ole Miss, Missouri is the first game at 9:30 Central Time.
God bless them, man, that is a early time.
And Vanderbilt, Kentucky is game 2, and then, like I said, South Carolina, Tennessee is at 4:30 Central Time. And so yeah, you'll have a little bit of wiggle room, but yeah, that's super weird. Yeah, I didn't know they wouldn't give you a credential in the middle of the game. That sounds
it is weird because it's like they have people at the box office there, and it's like what the heck. So I don't know. I probably got to look at the media guide, see what time the pickup is. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, that's tomorrow, and if they're here moving forward, I mean that's fine. I mean I'm already here anyway. I got moved to an ADA hotel room here that I'm staying at. So
there you go.
The room is massive here, obviously because of the handicap situation. Yes, and I'm not handicapped, by the way. I'm not handicapped, and it was not my choice to come into a handicap room. So let me just preface that. And I have nothing against handicapped people. So
no, of course not. But you have so much room for activities.
Yes, so much room for activities. All right, let's get into predictions, man. We'll predict tomorrow's game, but I also do want to get your prediction on who you think is going to win the whole SEC tournament, since we may be back on here later this week talking about the offseason and the end of season. But again, we're just locking in predictions for the entire week pretty much, as well as just tomorrow in general. And if you think Carolina's going to win, let me know how far they're going to go, Ethan. But go ahead with your prediction. What do you think is happening tomorrow and for the SEC tournament?
I think it will be a close game. I do think it's going to be a good game. I don't think it's going to be the last few Fridays where it's a 9-1 loss or anything like that. But I do have the guys taking the L tomorrow. This season mercifully comes to an end, and the program can start turning the page onto what's next. But like I said, I do think they're going to play well. Again, this team doesn't quit. They know this is it. It's hard to measure up and to count what that will do to a team when they know that the season ends with a loss. So maybe I think they'll definitely come out fighting, but I just again, I don't think the offense has enough juice. I think see us losing like a 5-3 close game. And I have Georgia win it all. I know the number 1 seed doesn't typically win this thing, but they're a wagon. They're on a great side of the bracket.
Very side of the bracket.
I think they're going to steamroll till they get to the semis. They started the quarters. So, I think they beat whoever Ole Miss, Missouri is. And I think they steamroll, between Bama, Florida, Kentucky, Vanderbilt. So I just think they've got a really good matchup to get to the championship game. So yeah, I've got Georgia taking the crown this year.
I agree. They have a really good. I'm not saying that they're going to win. I'll actually just share my prediction. I kind of like the way Bama's playing, dude. I think Bama's on a roll right now, and I think Bama's going to win this tournament. We don't see the 1 seed typically win usually.
That's true.
And I think, I don't think the way the bracket plays now is just so different from years past where, again, it favors the teams like the top 4 seeds are off until Thursday with Georgia and Bama, and then Friday, Texas and Texas A&M play in the quarterfinals. And all you got to do is win 3 games. These other teams, they got to win 5 games in 6 days, and that's just a lot. I don't really see any of them really doing it. If I had to pick a team from the other part of the top 8 that could potentially win it, I could see Mississippi State winning it potentially, but they got to go through Georgia. So I'm going to go with Bama to win the tournament. As for Carolina, I do think they take the L tomorrow. I think they are going to lose to Tennessee. I think the stars are aligned for Cam Appenzeller to go out there and have a career day or something. But I don't know, man. They've lost 12 straight. Sure, they fought a little bit hard lately, but I think, based on the way I packed for this trip, I mean, I brought 2 collared shirts for a reason.
Yeah.
And like, they'll be lucky to get to Wednesday. So I'm going to take the Gamecocks. I'll actually give a score prediction too. Last year's game against Florida here got out of hand. I kind of think tomorrow's game gets out of hand. I think South Carolina loses this one like 10-5 or something. Like, it's just going to be a game that – and it's kind of surprising because Hoover plays – we haven't even talked about this. Hoover plays tremendously big. It is a huge ballpark. And that actually may play really well to a guy that's like a pitch-to-contact guy like Brandon Stone.
Yeah.
And maybe that helps South Carolina tomorrow. This ballpark plays very big. But Tennessee, they seem to have some power on the team. So we will see. Gamecocks obviously don't hit for much power, so they're going to have to figure something out playing in this ballpark. But, yeah, man, I got South Carolina losing this game.
Yep. Yeah, no. I just think it's like you said, it's been building to this point, and losers with 12 straight. I don't see them turning around when the best teams are playing right now.
Yeah, season would be over then tomorrow night, and then that's it, man. Then the off season's here. So this is unless South Carolina goes on a miracle run, makes it to the postseason. This is going to be our final show of the regular season. The next time you see us will be off-season mode. We'll be talking about the end of we'll recap the entire year and just what the heck went wrong. And then as soon as we're done with that, we're moving on from 2026. We're getting into the coaching search and where we go from there. And I will say, everybody, I know generally if you're listening to this, you're subscribed to Gamecock Central, the Big Spur On 3 collaboration, but especially whenever this season ends, I cannot suggest it more. Subscribe. You guys are doing incredible work. A lot of the good stuff's been posted here in the last, obviously all season, but especially with things kind of heating up. Some great articles and stuff's been written here in the last week or two. So if you aren't subscribed, subscribe. Go ahead, get on it, get into it, and we're the guys are going to have the best news. The best place for that source of news. Hell yeah! I'll just tease it. I mean, as soon as the season ends, that Wednesday morning, stuff's going to be rolling out. Hot board. Yep. I mean, we're getting into the nitty-gritty of what's going on with the coach search. Already have the guys over at the Big Spur that have joined us, Jamie, JC, man, they've added so much to this baseball search. There's so much good stuff up right now. Great intel from those guys, but we'll have plenty coming up here more. And we'll be talking about it too. We'll be talking about here live every week throughout the summer. We'll be talking about this. It'll be a little bit different. It'll be more exciting talking on GC Live moving forward once this, let's call it for what it is. It's been another abysmal season.
Yep.
And I think everyone's ready to turn the page and move on. And man, it's been a long 2 years, but hopefully things will be better moving forward. But we appreciate you guys tuning in once again.
Yeah,
and
thank you, everyone.
Every week throughout the regular season. And if this is the final regular season show, we say thank you, as always. So for Gamecock Central, I'm Jack Veltri, and as always, joined by Ethan Carter, former Gamecock right-hand pitcher, 2010 College World Series champion. South Carolina first pitch against Tennessee tomorrow afternoon, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 4:30 Central for folks like me who are out here in Hoover at the Hoover Met on SEC Network, and we'll have all live coverage for you on Gamecock Central. So until next time, appreciate you guys as always, and we'll see you next time. Bye, y'all.